Are you looking for all the latest pro football news and content? Of course you are. Who doesn't love football? The question is, how do you get all the latest pro football news and content? There's so many different pro football podcasts on the internet. Which one do you choose? Which one is the right fit for you? Well, you go with the Across the Middle Show, one of the fastest growing football podcasts out right now. Over the past year, we've climbed the Spotify rankings and became a show you have to listen to if you're a football fan. Find out if the Ravens will go all the way with Odell Beckham Jr., find out if the Eagles did enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. You'll get all of our best stories for just $1 per month. All you have to do is sign up by clicking the link in the episode description box. I'm John Kuzma. Welcome back to another episode of the Across the Middle Show. We got the Dalvin Cook story. We're also going to talk about the Washington Commanders. Let's start with Dalvin Cook. So the Jets are becoming the front runner to sign Dalvin Cook. Remember, Breece Hall had that ACL injury. They're trying to work him back from, the ACL injury and get him back up to speed. Because of that, they're thinking about signing Dalvin Cook and shoring up their backfield. And can you imagine how good the Jets would be if they signed Dalvin Cook? I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Alan Lazard, you have Randall Cobb, Mecole Hardman. You add Dalvin Cook to the mix too. I mean, the Jets are going to be right there when it comes to winning a Super Bowl just because they have so much talent on the roster. And Dalvin Cook could really provide some explosive plays for that offense when it comes to all the, the running plays that he'll get and the touches that he'll get. I mean, he's a guy that can really bring something to the table for that team. A guy that is known for being a prolific, running back when it comes to piling on the yardage, the touchdowns. I mean, he can do those things. I mean, he's a really, really good football player. There's no debating that. The guy was phenomenal with the Vikings and, really took the league by storm, is one of the best running backs in the league. There's no doubt about that. A guy that just does so many things well on the football field, just runs wild. When he gets into the zone, he just runs wild. There's no other way to put it. So tough to stop. You almost can't even stop the guy when he's on. It's going to be huge for the Jets if they can get Dalvin Cook, just because, that opens up play action passes for Aaron Rodgers. The Jets' offense will become tougher to defend just because defense are going to have to sell out to stop the run. I mean, and if you have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, I mean, it's a wrap. It's over. There's nothing you're going to do to stop both those guys, especially if Breece Hall can be the guy he was this past year. I mean, you're talking about the best backfield in the NFL. I mean, they're going to be close. There's no doubt about it. There's a good chance they would be the best backfield in the NFL just off their talent alone. How are you going to stop both those guys? Breece Hall was on fire last year. Then he goes down with injury. It really hurt the Jets. But if you have both those guys, I mean, as soon as one guy gets tired, you bring in the other guy. That's just a 1-2 punch that's going to, throw haymaker after haymaker and really knock the lights out of these opposing defenses. It's going to be tough to defend. I love that signing if the Jets do find a way to pull it off. If they can get Dalvin Cook and if they can just load up that running back position with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, then Breece Hall makes a full recovery. I mean, we're talking Super Bowl for the Jets if they get Dalvin Cook. No doubt about it. So I think it's a smart game plan by the Jets. They don't know how far along Breece Hall is going to be. They don't want to risk it. And then you can be patient with Breece Hall if you have Dalvin Cook. You can let, Dalvin Cook, take all the handoffs for the first 6 weeks and then start working Breece Hall in. And then by the end of the year, you have two great running backs that are just chipping away at the defense. And then, you're a more balanced football team because Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to pass as much. He can just hand the ball off, and the Jets can win games by just handing the ball off. When you're able to win games just by, playing such a simple type of football, just handing the ball off, and your running backs are so good that the other team can't stop it. I mean, it lets you be more physical. It makes life easier on your quarterback and your wide receivers. Now your quarterback and your wide receivers aren't taking as many hits. And you have two running backs, so you're splitting the workload between both those guys, so they're not taking on as much damage either. I mean, it's like the recipe for success. And for the Jets, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to get Dalvin Cook if you can get him, because if he's going to go to the Dolphins or the Patriots, you obviously want to bring him to the Jets and not let him go to an AFC East rival. Then you take a good player away from one of those teams, because the other two teams that are linked to Dalvin Cook are the Dolphins and the Patriots. Why let him go to one of those teams? The Jets should just sign Dalvin Cook, load up, go for the Super Bowl, go all in. I mean, this is your year. You have the hype on your side. You have momentum on your side. Everybody is excited by what has happened this past offseason, all the talent they've acquired, how much closer they've gotten to winning it all. You can't lose any of that momentum by waiting around. Next year, you might not have as much momentum, and you might not have the opportunities that you have now. So if you have a chance to sign Dalvin Cook and you're the Jets, you have to do it. You have to pull the trigger on that deal. By getting Dalvin Cook, it gets you so much closer to winning a Super Bowl. You take pressure off Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, all the wide receivers. Dalvin Cook's good enough to live up to that bar that they set for him. Some running backs, will come in and not be able to live up to the hype. We all know Dalvin Cook is capable of it. He's going to come in and he's going to show out, because that's who Dalvin Cook has always been. He feels like he's in great shape now. He's healthy. Everything would be perfect for the Jets. I think it's a no-brainer. You got to sign Dalvin Cook. It's all in time for the Jets. This is your chance. You don't want to be the same old Jets. You have a chance to be Super Bowl contending Jets, a team that is capable of winning the Super Bowl. You're right there. It's within reach. Go get Dalvin Cook and make this thing happen. That's what I think the Jets should do if they have a chance to get Dalvin Cook. The other story we have is the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders have been sold to Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. And I think this is a huge day for the Washington Commanders, because the Washington Commanders finally have a leadership group that's not going to hold them back. Daniel Snyder was not doing a good enough job with that team. He was harassing workers, harassing his employees, making sexual advances at them. They were making it tough on the cheerleaders. They were exposing, things with the cheerleaders that they shouldn't have been doing, sending pictures around and things like that. Not a good look. They were cooking the books and shorting the NFL some of their dues. It's just a toxic workplace environment. Daniel Snyder was not doing a good enough job. The team wasn't successful on the field. Remember, the stadium almost fell apart one time when Jalen Hurts was leaving the stadium and he had to help some people up. I mean, there was just so many strikes against this franchise. There were so many things that were falling apart and not going the right way, not being ran the right way. The culture was toxic. There's just so much that was working against the Commanders and working against Daniel Snyder, that the fact that they got a new owner and got someone new in there that is going to allow this team to kind of reinvent themselves from a leadership standpoint, it's going to be huge for the Commanders. Just getting a guy in there that's high character, Josh Harris, he's going to be so much better than Daniel Snyder was. He's going to lead that team, and he's going to lead that team with character. He understands ethics and morality much better than Daniel Snyder ever could. He's going to be a professional, and he's going to be a high character guy at the top position, and that's going to trickle down to the other jobs that the Commanders have on their staff. So I think they're headed in the right direction. We all know Magic Johnson's a great guy too, very compassionate human being. just recently tweeted about how much he loves football. He said that he played football all the time as a kid, so it's a dream come true to be able to be an owner of the Washington Commanders. I'm excited for Washington. I'm excited for the fans in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. I think they are going to take a big step in the right direction. I think things are going to be run much smoother. There's going to be less scandals. The players are going to be much happier. Remember, Trent Williams basically quit on the team because they failed to diagnose him with cancer. The team doctors blew it with Trent Williams. He basically forces his way out. I don't think we're going to see that as much because you have better ownership that are going to do everything they can to take care of their players. And when you're losing players like Trent Williams, one of the best offensive linemen that ever lived, it's hard to be successful when you lose guys like Trent Williams. And not a lot of players wanted to stick around, which is how things were going. Everybody wanted to bail and get out of there just because things weren't being run the right way. I think that all changes now. I think Josh Harris and Magic Johnson really whipped this team into shape. I think it's going to be an exciting brand of football. Like I said, I think it's going to trickle down from the owners all the way down to coaches and everything. Remember, Jay Gruden said that Daniel Snyder was picking players. He wouldn't do any research. He wouldn't watch any film. He wouldn't go to any of the meetings, and he would pick the players in the draft. He would pick the players in free agency without doing his due diligence. There was bad decision-making. He was running it like it's my team, it's the highway. At the same time, you can do that if you are informed and making informed decisions, but when you're not informed and you're saying it's my team or the highway, obviously it can be detrimental to the team. That's what was happening with the Commanders. One other thing I got too, though, the Commanders are thinking about changing their name again. Remember, they were the Redskins. People pushed back on that because they considered it a racial slur. So it was the right move to change to the Commanders. Well, now they're thinking about changing it again. And my apologies for using the R word there. I was just, trying to talk about the team's past and why they changed it to the Commanders in the first place. The Commanders are, what they're called now. In between there, they were called the Washington Football Team. Now we're going to see if they rename the team again. We'll see what they go to. It's on the table. They're discussing whether they should rebrand the whole team and maybe even change the color scheme too. A lot of people are pushing back on that. They want to keep the burgundy and yellow color scheme because they think it's a great color scheme and it represents the team throughout all the years, despite, the bad name that they had for a while there. We'll see. We'll see what the new name is. Will they be the Washington Generals? Will they be the Washington Red Wolves or the Red Tails? We don't know. All the options are on the table right now. The new ownership group is trying to just completely rebrand and make some fresh changes to kind of get people excited again. It sounds like Commanders could be on the way out. They might go with something else. I don't know what the new team's going to be yet. The new team name's going to be yet. We haven't heard of anything yet. It's just all been speculation that the name could be changed, and the new owners are kind of debating back and forth whether they need to change the name and go with something else because they want to get a fresh start. That's where we're at with the Washington Commanders situation. That's all I got for this latest episode. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm John Kuzma. Sign up for $1 per month. Thank you guys so much. I'm signing off. Have a good night.